tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queuing. H2.0. Yeah. Yeah. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear. Welcome to the Queendom, it's 2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. If you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must. This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought. Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me envy. Unleash the dragon. You subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family. Yeah.
They thought they buried it.
World leaders gang and they forming a line. They sticking the dagger and cutting the vibe. And the national status is starting to slide. They tired of the ego, they tired of the ride. They making their moves in the middle of the night. The art of the deal is losing the fight. The allies are gone, they're taking a hike, leaving the White House alone on the strike. They sucked the dagger, they twisted the steel. They hiding the hug, but we know it's real. From the border to the boot, yeah, that ain't a mess. We putting the sit star to the ultimate test. Check the medical record, check the physical gate. Doctors confirming the stroke on the slate. White House is lying, they trying to keep straight while he's talking about canceling the election date. And Kristi is messy, she's working with ICE. Undercover reporters, they paying the price. Exposing the secrets, exposing the vice. They treat human beings like they playing with dice.
You hear him?
It's a media war and the cameras are hot. They taking their aim and they taking the shot. Dumb in his brew, he's coming for Smith. Telling the world that his logic's a myth. Joy Reid and Crockett, they joining the pith. But Stephen A says he ain't catching a stick. He's clapping back hard, he's standing his ground. The loudest voices are making the sound. The culture is split and it's getting profound. While the whole entire world is spinning around. Ready to see, the secrets are out.
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden. I'm back with another live. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. I was having a quick mic issue, but I think I fixed it. So anyway, if y'all can hear me, good evening. Thank you for joining again. It's about 5:09 p.m. here Eastern Time in the Carolinas. And of course, we got some political updates to get into, y'all. A few more things that I wanted to come and talk to y'all about. So let me go ahead and read the synopsis and the breakdown of what we'll be watching on this live, okay? So we'll be starting with a possible political world that's on fire. We are seeing reports that traditional allies, nations we used to call friends, are officially ganging up. From the EU to the GTO, world leaders are tired of the American first pressure. They aren't just complaining anymore, they're sticking the dagger in by creating secret trade pacts and climate deals that intentionally leave the US in the cold. It is the art of the deal, falling on the world stage, or are these leaders just terrified of a stronger America? That's just a question, y'all. We'll get into my thoughts and feelings as the video moves forward. And then second off, we'll be getting into some of these health cover ups when it comes to Donald Trump and some election rhetoric. We will have to talk about the headlines that are shaking the internet. Several doctors and medical analysis are going on record claiming that they've seen physical tells from a heavy gait to cognitive slips that Trump could have possibly allegedly suffered a stroke. The White House is calling it total fiction, but the rumor mill says there's a massive cover up happening behind closed doors. We'll be getting into that. It does get more intense. Trump recently floated the idea of canceling or delaying the upcoming elections, claiming his track record is so good we don't even need them. Is this just his classic trolling style, or are we looking at a serious threat to democratic processes? Also, we'll be getting into Kristi Noem and the ICE exposure. Turning to the border in the Iron Fist policy, Homeland Security Kristi Noem is under the microscope. An undercover reporter has allegedly leaked footage and documents from inside ICE, claiming that the dangerous criminals being deported are actually families with clean records. This Operation Midway Blitz is becoming a PR nightmare. Is Noam following the law, or is this a massive overreach that's being hidden from the public eye? And finally, y'all, we're going to get into some media civil war. Don Lemon versus Stephen A. Smith. The media is absolutely imploding. Don Lemon went for the jugular in a brutal takedown of Stephen A. Smith, accusing him of turning his back on his community. He's not alone, though. Joy Reid and Jasmine Crockett have been power driving Stephen A. Smith all week for his recent comments. But if y'all know Stephen A. Smith, you know he doesn't stay quiet for very long. He fired back, telling Reid and Crockett to keep his name out their mouths and defending his right to speak the truth about the current political climate. Is Stephen A. the only one being so-called real right now? Or has he officially switched sides? I want to know what you guys think. So drop down in the chat in the comment section if you like. And chit chat with me as we go through this live. And I'll play each of these audios and videos for you guys to see. So let's get into our first one here. And this one will be from none other than Ben Masilis from Midas Touch. Now he's going to be reporting on furious world leaders and how they're ganging up and sticking the dagger into Trump, meaning basically they are now no longer wanting to work with the United States or Trump, but they are teaming up with each other. So let's go ahead and get into that video and some of the reports and conversation with some of these world leaders and where they stand on everything that they have been witnessing that is happening with Trump in the United States and what they're doing next. So let me get this video up on the screen for you guys, and we will watch this together. Give me just a second, y'all. StreamYard's moving a little slow. Okay, there we go. I got it. And I'll be reading the comments as we go along, y'all. So give me just a second. Hey, Imani, how you doing, girl? She says, switch sides. He never was on a side. Exactly, right. Yeah, so, you know, that's just a little punchline that I put in there just to open up the floor for conversation, y'all. Y'all know, I don't know if you heard some of my thoughts and feelings about Stephen A. Smith, but we'll get into that once we get to that video. That's a little bit towards the end. But yeah, exactly. What side was he really ever on except his own? Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this video, y'all, and see what other world leaders have to say.
World leaders are just sticking the dagger right into Donald Trump. They're declaring there is a new world order where Donald Trump and America are weak and other nations will stand up strongly against the United States. Canada, they tried to be nice. France, they tried to be nice. Germany, they tried to be nice. No more Mr. Nice guys and gals in terms of the leaders from these countries, from the leader of the European Union, the Commission President von der Leyen and others. And they are just saying, we're done with this crap. And you have French President Emmanuel Macron flanked by his military, giving a powerful speech and says, we will be strong. We will be feared. And that's what we're going to be. That's what you want us to be. We will make sure that we show you how weak you are, Donald Trump. And then he says, we are putting our troops, we are putting our forces in Greenland to stop what the United States is doing. We're going to stand up for democracies. Then you had the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney. He's been in China. He met with the premier and then he met with the President Xi Jinping. And he described a new world order is forming, and it's about multilateralism, new trading partners, a weaker America, and other countries asserting themselves. And it was just so fascinating to me. And I'm going to tie this all together for you because I don't think you're seeing these clips and what's going on in lots of other corporate news. But then in the United Nations, there was an emergency security council meeting. It was basically called by the United States regarding the United States claim that it was going to take action in Iran. And then the United States backed down, even though Donald Trump told the people of Iran back on January 2nd, we're going to come in guns a-blazing if the Ayatollah even kills one protester. So go out there, protest, we got your back. And then Donald Trump didn't have their back, and there was mass slaughter taking place in Iran. But the U.S. called this meeting in the United Nations Security Council, and all the other countries are looking at the United States like, aren't y'all the people who just invaded Venezuela and you're threatening to invade Greenland? And what do you want us to do? You think we're your friends now? You got us mistaken. You're all alone, United States. And you see the United States delegation, they're all alone. And then you have the China ambassador to the United Nations, like doing a lecture to the United States about multilateralism. It's like a whole reversal of what you normally expect in the United Nations. So let's break this all down for you. First, I want to show you the French President Emmanuel Macron, and here in this powerful speech that he just delivered, flanked by the military. To remain free, we must be strong, we must assert ourselves, we must be brutal. Here, play this clip.
Pour rester libre, in order to stay free, it is necessary to be feared. To be feared, one must be powerful. And to be powerful in this brutal world, one must act faster and stronger. This requires the nation to make efforts equal to our harsh times. That is why I wanted, on July the 13th, to bring forward to the year 2027 the objective, originally scheduled for 2030, of reaching an annual budget of 64 billion euros for our defense. Thus, in the span of 2 presidential terms, the budget for the armed forces will have been effectively doubled. And we won't have been outmaneuvered by the decision of this or that person for convenience to please this or that ally. We will have taken the lead through our own decision, the analysis we made of the evolving threat, and by doing so, as I said very early on, our will to never submit.
More from French President Emmanuel Macron right here, saying the French troops are already in Greenland. More forces are incoming. And he also, in this speech, and I'm not going to show this other part of the clip, where he talked about doing air defense systems. And he goes, our systems are better than the United States Patriot systems. And we're thinking about giving Greenland all of those in the event of an American invasion. Here, play this clip.
In Greenland, an
autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark, Europeans have a particular responsibility because this territory belongs to the European Union and is also that of one of our NATO allies. France has decided to join the exercise that was scheduled and launched by Denmark in a sovereign and independent manner as part of Arctic endurance. A first team of French soldiers is already on site and will be reinforced in the coming days by land, air, and sea means. History does not forgive either unpreparedness or weakness. Our armed forces, and all our forces, including all support services in particular, are our life insurance. And nuclear deterrence, equally so, on which I will soon have the opportunity to speak again, is its keystone. All the efforts I have just mentioned, and those we will continue to make, contribute to making us ready and equal to the dangers.
En particulier pour le sergent Jimmy Gosselin, parce que nous avons tout pour cela.
So, here is a before of my stomach before Sonobello and
Just should be noted as well that while Greenland makes it very clear that they're Denmark, that the bright line is that, you know, they would have been willing to negotiate with the United States, but they will never surrender their sovereignty, that the United States was telling the New York Times and others, no, we actually are still discussing acquiring Greenland and Denmark because they're predators. Because the United States is a predator regime, and that's just what they do. They don't say they're saying you have Greenland and Denmark saying no, and the U.S. like, what does no mean? We're not doing that. Let's go to Beijing. This is big, big, especially for those who follow Canada. Might is out there. This is already here. Have Carney meeting Xi Jinping, the first time a Canadian prime minister has met with the leader of China in basically close to a decade. You see them right there shaking hands. They had met a few months back at a sideline at one of those meetings in Asia. And then they plan this meeting right here. So first I want to share with you, this was the meeting between Carney and Xi Jinping. And I just want you to watch the respect, the ode towards multilateralism, cooperation. Play this clip of Carney right here.
Thank you, President Xi, for your hospitality, for the warm welcome that's been extended to this delegation, and for the opportunity that our partnership brings to both our peoples, and I would suggest as well to the world.
Now, in the second clip of Carney, he talks and articulates how the Canadian-Chinese relationship will be mutually beneficial. Play this clip.
I'm extremely pleased that we are moving ahead with our new strategic partnership, a partnership that is founded on 5 pillars. Will not only deepen our bilateral ties to the benefit of our peoples, but will also, in my judgment, help improve the multilateral system, a system that in recent years has become under great strain. We're focusing on areas where we can make historic gains in agriculture, in energy, in finance. That's where we can make the most immediate progress. But that progress, in our judgment, will be multiplied by the welcome expansion of our cultural and people-to-people ties. 20 years ago, great steward of the Canada-China relationship, then Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, said of our partnership, and I quote, "Nations feel most secure when they see countless connections between them to work to their mutual advantage. And it's that engagement that builds true peace and security. Today, decades on, these principles are the foundation of our new strategic partnership. Mr. President, together we can build on the best of what this relationship has been in the past to create a new one, adapted to new global realities that will deliver stability, security, and prosperity to our peoples on both sides of the Pacific. Thank you very much.
Now, here's what I think is going to happen. Maple Midas, you know, Chinese EVs. I think Canada's going to open up that market. Canadian canola going into China. China buying a ton of Canada's oil, especially as they now may diversify away from Venezuela. Like while Donald Trump is setting up bank accounts in Qatar, potentially for himself to move Venezuelan oil money to Qatar, you have, again, Canada pursuing its interest, China pursuing its interest, Donald Trump pursuing his personal financial gain and screwing the United States. So you played that clip of Carney. And then you have Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping uses the words, "We want to foster a healthy, stable world order." Play this clip.
I am very pleased to meet you again. Last October, we met in Gyeongju, the Republic of Korea. It was a very good meeting. That meeting, I believe, marked a turnaround in the China-Canada relations and placed it on an upward trajectory. In the past couple of months, the agencies of our two countries have engaged in deep discussions on resuming and restarting cooperation across the board and produced positive results. I am heartened by the progress. This is your first visit to China as Prime Minister, and the first visit to China by a Canadian Prime Minister in more than 8 years. A healthy and stable China-Canada relationship serves the common interest of our two countries. It is also good for the peace, stability, and prosperity of the world. I am ready to continue working with you with a sense of responsibility for the history, for the people, and for the world, to further advance the relationship in a positive direction and bring it on a track of healthy, steady, and sustainable development for the benefit of the people of both countries. Thank you, Prime Minister.
And then before that meeting, you had Carney meeting with the Chinese Premier Li Qiang. And he says there is a new world order that's forming, and we are focused on this new world order. Listen to Carney right here. Play this clip.
As you mentioned, mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order. It's a partnership with new focus and greater depth, and a sense of purpose. And I look forward to realizing its promise and building on it in the years to come. A partnership that leverages our strengths to create greater stability, security, sustainability, and prosperity for all our peoples. And I look forward to this working session to advance those objectives. Thank you very much. Sheshe.
More from Prime Minister Carney right here at that meeting. Let's play this clip.
Just 6 weeks after my government was elected in the spring of last year, you and I spoke on the telephone. And that conversation, one of respect and openness, created the pathway for our meeting in New York on the margins of UNGA. And the progress we made there created the opportunity for me to meet with President Xi Jinping. Under your leadership and President Xi's leadership, our teams have worked hard in the subsequent weeks and months to address some specific issues that had built up over time. But more than that, to put in place the foundation for the new strategic partnership between our countries. I'm deeply grateful. My colleagues are deeply grateful for that commitment and the spirit of that commitment, one of respect, frank exchange, purpose, and progress. After all, the relationship between our countries is historic, it's complementary, and it's deeply personal for so many Canadians.
And here's what Premier Li Qing had to say. Here, play this clip.
I'm very happy to receive you, Prime Minister Carney, here in Beijing. First of all, a very warm welcome to you on your visit to China. I still remember in September last year, we jointly attended UNGA, and on the sideline of the General Assembly, we had a very good talk. I still recall your words on being pragmatic and being cooperative to work with China to help our relationship overcome obstacles and move forward. In October last year, President Xi Jinping and you had a meeting in Kyongju, the ROK, and our relationship has achieved a turnaround on its 55th anniversary. This has been widely welcomed by all sectors of our two countries. The past and the present have repeatedly proven that the sound and the stable development of our relationship is in the interest of both our two countries. Mr. Prime Minister, your visit this time falls on the start of a new year. It is also the first visit by a Canadian Prime Minister after some 8+ years. President Xi Jinping tomorrow will have a meeting with you, which will further point the way forward for the steady and upward growth of this relationship. Standing on a new starting point, China is ready to work with Canada to increase dialogue and communication, enhance political mutual trust, expand practical cooperation, work for more new outcomes so as to add more vigor for the growth of our two countries. I'm ready to exchange views with you on issues of shared interest and do so in a frank manner. Thank you.
Now, as I mentioned, there was parallel tracks taking place. So while you have Prime Minister Carney meeting in Beijing with China, you have this emergency United Nations meeting taking place. And there you have the Chinese ambassador to the United Nations. Here he speaks about the United States' constant threats and bullying. And you have China as the one invoking the UN Charter, collaboration, it's a role reversal of what we're used to. And the United States found itself all alone at this United Nations meeting. Watch for yourself. Play this clip.
Recent developments in Iran have drawn widespread attention. China has taken note of the description thereof provided by the Iranian Foreign Minister in his letter to the UN Secretary General. For some time now, the United States has continued to make statements on the situation in Iran and has openly issued threats of the use of force against Iran. As a result, clouds of war are gathering over the Middle East and the tensions in the region continue to escalate. China has always advocated adherence to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and international law. We oppose the use or threat of force in international relations, oppose imposing one's will upon other countries, and oppose any regression of the world to the law of the jungle. Sovereign equality and non-interference in internal affairs are basic principles of international law and the most fundamental norms governing modern international relations. Iran is an independent sovereign state. Iran's affairs should be decided independently by the Iranian people.
Hey there, Lily.
Hi.
Welcome to Synthesis Tutor.
China supports safeguarding Iran's sovereignty security, and territorial integrity, and calls on the international community to support the Iranian government and people in overcoming current difficulties and in maintaining national security and social stability. The use of force can never solve problems. It will only make them more complex and intractable. Any military adventurism would only push the region toward an unpredictable abyss. We urge the United States to abide by the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, abandon its fixation on the use of force, and call on all parties to exercise restraint and work together to play their due role in maintaining international peace and security. At present, the Middle East remains the most fragile region in the global security landscape, with the risks of turmoil and conflict persistently high. The people of the region have a strong desire for peace and development. China has noted the grave concerns expressed by the vast majority of regional countries regarding military confrontation, as well as their sincere expectation for resolving disputes peacefully through dialogue. China hopes that the United States and other relevant parties will take seriously the voices of the international community and regional countries and do more for peace and stability in the Middle East, rather than the opposite. All countries should play a constructive role in promoting peace and ending conflicts, avoid exacerbating tensions, and refrain from adding fuel to the fire. President, peace and development are the shared aspirations of all peoples. History has repeatedly proven that an obsession with force, relentless pressure, and wanton interference only generate more conflict and hatred. No country has the power to dictate the future of another, and no action that defies international law can be tolerated. We call on the international community to stand on the right side of history and on the side of fairness and justice, and work tirelessly for peace and stability in the Middle East and peace and tranquility in the world. Thank you, President.
I thank the representative of China for the statement.
Well, there you have it, folks. Big shifts happening. Oh, and by the way, Prime Minister Carney says, thank you, Chairman Zhao Leji, for the constructive meeting in Beijing. Canada and China have long-standing relationships and opportunities for both people of our countries. In a more divided, uncertain world, we're focused on renewing that relationship and building toward a stronger future. Canada exports over $30 billion in goods and services to China every year. More than 400,000 careers in Canada are supported by this trade relationship. Here in Beijing, I'm meeting with government and business leaders because we want to build on that, opening up new markets and creating new opportunities for Canadian workers and businesses. I'll just say this. Canada chose wisely in their leader. Smart, diplomatic, savvy. Just think about the contrast. Y'all got Carney, the banker, the central banker who saved economies over time, while in the United States, we got the bankrupter, the sexual predator, the despicable, vile, whatever he is in the Oval Office. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks so much for watching.
All right, y'all. So there you have it. That's the very first report there as far as what is going on. This is, what could we say, right? Is it bullying, doctrine, and global isolation? We are actually witnessing a historic ganging up by world leaders, but it isn't without cause. Critics and allies alike are pointing to what they call a bully pulpit approach to foreign policy, from the unilateral military seizure of President Maduro in Venezuela to the public pressure campaigns against Denmark over Greenland. The U.S. is increasingly seen as an unethical actor that disregards international law. By withdrawing from dozens of treaties and ignoring multilateral summits, the administration is being accused of being an alleged greed-driven power trip that has forced traditional allies like France, Germany, and Brazil to form their own coalitions just to protect themselves from American economic and political intimidation. Do we think this is wrong or right? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. We're going to take a quick song break, and then we're going to get into our second topic of the day. We'll be talking about the alleged reports that Sir President Donald Trump possibly has undergone a stroke that the White House and the administration is trying to cover up. We must be careful with these type of reportings because, you know, there is privacy issues and HIPAA violations and things of that nature. But these reports are not coming from me. These reports are coming from public information. And so we'll go ahead and get into just a little bit of that in just a moment after this song break, and we'll be right back.
Check the pulse of the nation, feel a tremor in the ground. Another hollow promise, another hateful sound. The burner phones are buzzing, the leak, DMs exposed. The country club whispers about the people in their robes. They smiling for the cameras, preaching unity and grace. We're drafting legislation to keep you in your place. The dog whistles the sirens, now the hoods are in the open. Igniting tiki torch shadows, leaving spirits broken. They want to turn the clock back to a time of gilded pain, where progress is a dirty word and fear is how they reign. But every soul they try to crush, just learn to stand up straighter. This ain't a game of politics, this is gladiator. Enough is enough. The whispers turn into the heat. My fist again shut up. Enough is enough. Where the people at the table filling up our cup. This ain't about a party, the lines are clearly drawn. It's the light against the darkness that's coming for the dawn. Holy versus evil is the truth against the lie. We ain't backing down with a fire in the sky. They coming for the libraries, wanna burn away the facts. Erase the bloody chapter so you can't see the tracks. They gerrymandering the district, drawing every map. Your vote is just an echo caught inside the power trap. They purging names from voter rolls and calling it secure, while scream about election fraud to keep their motives pure. They wanna legislate the scars upon a woman's soul, and own the very choices that whenever there's control. From the classroom to the courthouse, a calculated scheme to suffocate the promise of the American dream. But they forgot the dream was dreamed by rebels and by slaves, and their spirit is the very ground that trembles in their grave. Enough is enough. People at the table filling up our cup. This ain't about a party, the lines are clearly drawn. It's the light against the darkness that's coming for the dawn. Holy versus evil is the truth against the lie. We ain't backing down, fire in the sky. They call this politics, they call it policy, they call it survival, we call it tyranny. They stand on podiums with a Bible in their hand, but don't know the first thing about the soul of this land. This is for the teacher hiding books up on the shelf, for the doctor taking notes to more than just himself. This is for the dreamer facing down an ICE patrol, for every ancestor's prayer that paid a spirit's toll. Their power is an illusion, a fortress made of glass. Our strength is in the future, they are terrified to let pass this hurricane of justice, an earthquake of the soul. It's a holy fire raging, and it's out of their control. Enough is enough. Standing to the wrong line that you can't stand. Enough is enough. The people at the table filling up our cup. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Sense. As you all know, none of us, Pumps, me, nor you, the listener, are physicians, but we all knew when Kanks went missing and then comes out with his lips sagging, the bruises on his hands, the cankles, that there was a medical episode. And this is why they are accelerating the fascism and accelerating the authoritarianism, because we have a frail, aging, about to drop dead, President of the United States. And the Daily Beast is confirming this. Kylie, pop up the headline. President Donald Trump suffered a stroke several months ago and has kept it from the public, a medical expert has claimed. Let's read the excerpts. The article goes on to say, I think his stroke was on the left side of his brain, which controls the right side of the body, Davidson told the biographer Sidney Blumenthal and Princeton historian. I think the stroke was 6 months ago or more. Earlier in 2025, he continued, there are videos of him shuffling his feet. We've all seen this. You saw when he was shuffling to go clap like a seal for Vladimir Putin in Alaska. We've all seen that. Which is not what we'd seen previously when he was striding on the golf course. We've seen him holding his right hand cradled in his left hand. Earlier in 2025, he was garbling words, which he hadn't done before, and which he's improved upon more recently. Davidson also pointed to what he described as marked episodes of excessive daytime sleepiness, known medically as hypersomnolence, which he said is common among stroke patients. Trump is now routinely appearing to nod off in public appearances, such as White House events. And what I have to say here is we knew it. We called it. You all in the comment section said it. We have been on this. But their whole game, you guys, the whole game, the timeline just shrunk. In order for this authoritarianism to really take hold, it would be better if they did it incrementally to where we didn't notice as much. They took a little bit here, they took a little bit there. What has happened since these medical episodes? What's happened since we started getting the images of his grotesquely swollen ankles and then all the bruising on his hands? He's nodding off yesterday, talking about milk in the Oval Office. I mean, just like snoring, literally. They have accelerated the timeline. And I think that this is where their lack of impulse control is going to screw them. And this strong man is now this frail senior citizen, dementia patient, stroke victim. We all saw the 9/11 memorial with this.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. So I just wanted y'all to hear that quick clip, and then, we're going to move right along, because you must be very careful when you're talking about people's medical conditions and their health status. People do have privacy when it comes to that to a certain extent. I do know that a lot of this is supposed to be, given to the administration and everyone there when you are holding a seat such as a president. They must make sure that you are in the proper physical and mental health to hold that position. And so that's why there's a lot of talks around it. But, you don't have to necessarily talk too much about it. But these are medical experts that have been pointing out telltale signs, physical signs, such as conspicuous hands bruising and shuffling gait that suggests there could be a lack of transparency regarding a possible stroke. For many, the unethical part isn't the health issue itself, but the bullying of the press and medical community to suppress the truth from the administration, the offices, and, the American citizens. The secrecy paired with calls to cancel the 2026 elections paints a picture of leadership more concerned with maintaining a strongman image than with being honest to the people. So that was just one thing that is going around and circulating around, and they're talking about. And, just in my personal opinion, I do think it's quite unfair, that if that is the case, you're not being transparent about it. We know during the Biden administration, it was very clear for us to see and others to see that something was going on with him. But he had the integrity and the honesty to stand up and say, some things is just not how they need to be. He might be a little bit tired to do the job, and so he decided to step down. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We know if dealing with an individual like this is very prideful, these type of things probably what happened. I wish him all the best when it comes to his health and all this stuff like that, but I do think transparency is very important. Anyway, moving on to our next topic, y'all. we're going to get into Kristi Noem. And let's see some of the reports that we have here on a funnier side of things. So let's amp up the energy, y'all. And I'm going to play a really great piece here from Reese Waters, who has been covering a lot of political stuff as well. And on this video, he'll be talking about Kristi Noem and ICE exposed by an undercover reporter. Interesting, interesting. I just had this conversation the other day with a close friend. Yeah, people are getting to the bottom of it. And every time we see Kristi Noem, child, she always somewhere, you know, telling a lie. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, I don't know if y'all see it too, but that's what I'll be seeing. So let's go ahead and get into this next video from none other than Reese Waters. Shout out to him. Excellent reporter work and production when it comes to his videos. If y'all have not checked out his channel and subscribed to his channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please head over and do so. You will not be disappointed. But let's go ahead and get into this next video here about Kristi Noem with a little dose of comedy. I love it. It's the perfect mixture. All right, let's get into it. I'll meet y'all in the chat.
I got a question. If you hit multiples of the geofences, do you automatically get the job? Like if you stop by a military base on your way to the NASCAR race and then hit the gun show on your way home, you just automatically get the job. Then they make you a squad leader. You become a squad leader. You become an ICE general. If you hit all three of those, you become an ICE general. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Hold on. Hey, you get that job at Dollar General? Failed the drug test? I told you. Did you drink the... You got another job? Failed drug test, no background check, no paperwork. Yet this investigative journalist was still hired by ICE. The bar is on the floor. They said failed drug test, no background check, and no paperwork.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I guess you have to ask yourself, based on what you've seen so far from ICE, is this out of step with? This feels about right. A few months ago, ICE hired me. I didn't sign and submit any paperwork. I'm real outspoken about my opinion of the Trump administration, and I'm extremely Googleable. And yet there I was in plain English. Welcome to ICE, my latest for Slate. She wrote a whole article. Wow. You know, that's like the employer equivalent of bringing in an undercover. You know what I mean? That, like, if we had an operable, justice system, bringing in an undercover that gets evidence, this is like the employer equivalent. You just like, we got to fill this slot. And now you get a whole article written for Slate. But she did it for the country.
Smile Zemi. The Smile Zemi tab.
You heard about who ICE is recruiting. The truth is far worse. I'm the proof. What happens when you do minimal screening before hiring agents, arming them, and sending them into the streets? We're all finding out. The plan was never to become an ICE agent. The plan when I went to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Career Expo in Texas last August was to learn what it was like to apply to be an ICE agent. Who wouldn't be curious? The event promised on-the-spot hiring for would-be deportation officers. Walk in unemployed, walk out with a sweet $50K signing bonus, a retirement account, and a license to brutalize the country's most vulnerable residents without consequence, all while wrapped in the warm glow of patriotism. I had a question. That's the pre-Trump 47 idea of patriotism, right? Because after Trump 47, we done seen what America First is worth. We got whole other countries building bases here, accepting jets from other countries, let China in. Like patriotism, patriotism.
This some more bullshit.
The New England Patriots winning a playoff game is the most patriotic thing to happen this whole administration.
He's right, you know.
When I showed up at 9 a.m., the flood was notably absent. There was no line to check in and no line to go through security. I walked down nearly empty hallways past the nearly empty drug testing station and into the event proper, where a man directed me to a line to wait for an interview. I took my spot at the end. There were only 6 people ahead of me. She said the drug testing station was empty. They were probably late. They were probably, they're pretty unreliable. Our drug testers be pretty unreliable, with ICE. Either that or they show up just all over the place, people dilated and crazy, you know what I mean? It just, they only test when they want to test. And they be temperamental when they do.
Off the motherfucking drugs, I be tripping.
The side monitors displayed static propaganda posters that urged the viewer to defend the homeland and join ICE today, while the large central monitor played 2 short videos on a loop, about 10 minutes of propaganda footage again and again and again.
Welcome to the team, recruits. I'm Kristi Noem.
After about 15 minutes of waiting, an extraordinarily normal-looking middle-aged woman waved me forward. Susie Wiles. Sorry. My bad. I thought it's like word association. She asked for my name and date of birth and whether I'm over 40. Did I have law enforcement experience? No. Military experience? Yes. Did I retire from the military at 20 plus years or leave once my enlistment was up? The latter, I told her, then repeated my carefully rehearsed, completely true explanation for why the resume I'd submitted had a large gap. I had a little bit of a quarter life crisis, ended up going to college for part of that time. And since then, I've been kind of gig economy stuff. She was spectacularly uninterested. Okay. And what location is your preference? Now, I got a quick question for y'all. Do you think having a gap in your resume and then saying you spent some of that time in college is a pro or a con on the ICE application? Is that a pro, like 50-50, right? It could go either way. It depends on which of the ladies you get. When Donald Trump took office, ICE numbered approximately 10,000. Despite this event's lackluster attendance, their recruitment push is reportedly going well. The agency reported 12,000 new recruits in 25, which means the agency has more new recruits than old hands. That's the kind of growth that changes the culture of an agency. That's right, changes the culture, kind of like what we've seen in the FBI and the DOJ, which has seen massive purges, both voluntary and forced, going from January 25 until literally this week.
Still, CBS News, a wave of resignations has hit the Justice Department Civil Rights Division because of a lack of action following the deadly Minneapolis ICE shooting. Scott McFarland's been reporting on this and joins us now. I was bugging you earlier this morning saying, wait, why would the Civil Rights Division be responsible for investigating this shooting? And the answer was,
if there's an accusation of a misuse or excessive force used by law enforcement, the Civil Rights Division of the federal prosecutor's offices lead that. That's a outgrowth of the civil rights era, when there obviously were face-offs between law enforcement and communities. The Civil Rights Division handles these types of things historically. They are not leading an investigation of a potential deprivation of color of law or excessive force by the immigrations officer. So you have departures in the wake of that, multiple departures inside the Civil Rights Division. They were announced at a meeting that was held for the staff on Monday.
But here's the thing. Just because you get an elevated position in Trump world doesn't necessarily absolve you of the things you do under that banner. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he will care or be at all appreciative of your efforts. Ain't that right, Van Bondi? Ain't it? You set your whole career on fire, and for what? Many of ICE's critics worry that the agency is hoovering up pro-Trump thugs, January 6th insurrectionists, white nationalists, etc., for a domestic security force loyal to the president. The truth, my experience suggests, is perhaps even scarier. ICE's recruitment push is so sloppy that the administration effectively has no idea who's joining the agency's ranks. So I think we got to finally update, the job prospects for people that refuse to take a background check, who are sympathetic to Antifa and blowing trees. I think we probably have to Dollar General, ICE, cabinet. That's it. That Dollar General, because it was just Dollar General and cabinet before. You got three. It's January again, and by now you started making resolutions to make the new year better for you. Well, now you got Outskill, the first ever AI-focused educational platform to accelerate AI learning for people like you and me. They're hosting the 2-day AI Mastermind training live this Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on both days. This 16 hours AI training has already built over 10 million AI-first professionals worldwide and is rated 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. And this is where you learn how to build AI agents that plan, write, execute, and report for you. Automate workflows that run even while you sleep. Connect tools like Sheets, Notions, CRMs, and email to create profitable systems. People from this very training have launched AI-powered services that bring in $2,000 to $3,000 a week just by applying the systems they're taught. To kickstart your year, you'll also get premium lifetime bonuses like the AI Prompt Bible, the AI Prompt Work, and then sending into America's streets. And I would add, with de facto immunity. Isn't that right, JD Vance? With de facto immunity, just about anybody. Now, if you challenge her assertions about the level that the bar is set for ICE, I would point you to the latest recruiting push. The document reported here for the first time reveals new details about the vast scale of the recruitment effort and its unconventional strategy to flood the market with millions of dollars in spending for Snapchat ads, influencers, and live streamers on Rumble, a video platform popular with conservatives. Under the strategy, ICE would also use an ad-friendly technique known as geofencing to send ads to the phone web browsers and social media feeds of anyone who set foot near military bases, NASCAR races, college campuses, or gun and trade shows.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Okay, so military bases, perfectly understandable. College campuses, weirdly sensible. So I guess we got our answer on that pro-con thing. So you got military bases and you got college campuses. Where else can we really get really good qualified NASCAR races? That gotta be it. That gotta be it. That's, you know what I mean? Just word association. Just word military bases, college campuses, NASCAR. That's what I think. That's what I have never told you how many times I've been sitting there and watching a NASCAR race and say, it's a shame all these people sitting here when they could all be improving society through science, through agriculture, through military work, through how many economists are sitting there wasting time watching cars go in a circle when they could literally be saving America's finances, all the time. That's what upsets me about watching NASCAR. I'm like, we literally, at the time of this, they could have saved the world. I got a question. If you hit multiples of the geofences, do you automatically get the job? Like if you stop by a military base on your way to the NASCAR race and then hit the gun show on your way home, you just automatically get the job. Then they make you a squad leader. You become a squad leader. You become an ICE general. If you hit all three of those, you become an ICE general. But then if you end up going up to a college, if you hit all of them, you get a demerit. If you go to a college, if you hit those other three, you know what I mean? 5 stars. But also, let's not forget gun and trade shows. Yeah, that's right. Gun and trade shows. I suppose if you decide not to join ICE coming from the gun and trade show, you always have another opportunity appearing in a segment for ID, because the gun and trade is always a gun and trade show, and all their reenactments always got a gun and trade show. So you can help them with that. Snapped. Oh,
I love listening to Reese Waters. He be cracking me up. I love the way he presents stuff with that nice dose of comedy up in there. But y'all know, if you've been watching and paying attention, that this supposed DHS secretary, Kristi Noem, she is not a stranger to bully tactics. Her career has literally been defined by them. Long before the recent ICE execution, excuse my language, but that's what it was, in Minneapolis, Noem was notorious for using her office as a personal tool. As governor of South Dakota, she faced an ethics inquiry for allegedly pressuring state officials to grant her daughter a real estate license after it was denied. An act of blatant nepotism that cost taxpayers $200,000 in settlements. She gained national infamy after admitting in her memoir to taking out her 14-month-old puppy, Cricket, in a gravel pit, a story she used to prove she was tough enough to make unpleasant decisions. Today, the same toughness looks like unethical overreach. Undercover reports have exposed that $220 million in no bids DHS contracts were funneled to a mysterious firm linked to her own senior aides, bypassing the legal bidding process under the guise of a national emergency. When a U.S. citizen, we know her. We've been talking about her for quite some time now. Renee Nicole Good was taken from us or unalived by ICE agents. Noem's first instinct was to bully the narrative, branding the victim a domestic terrorist, despite video evidence showing the victim was fleeing the scene. It's a clear pattern from the gravel pit to the governor's mansion to the border. Noem has constantly and consistently used power to silence dissent and enrich her inner circle. So, y'all, are we surprised by these reports? Are we surprised by her actions? Well, a lot of us who have been keeping up with how she has moved over her history, her historical career, if that's what you want to call it, no, we are not very surprised that, she would be doing these type of things. We are surprised, honestly, that these people are allowed to get away with operating this way. But anyway, let Reese do some more talking here, and we'll be right back.
We're on Oxygen. They got a lot of gun and trade shows over there.
Who are these masked secret ICE agents? We don't know much, but based on some recent reporting, we know that the hiring process is as shoddy and shabby as you might expect. A reporter who has openly criticized ICE, who would have failed a drug test, who did not complete the application and never had a background check, was nonetheless offered a job by ICE. It is unbelievable how little they knew about her and how easy it would have been to learn about her. And the scary part is, even if she declined the job, who is applying for this job? Who is looking to go out and abuse and use excessive force against immigrants and American citizens? The people who we don't want to be doing that. This is incredibly scary, but it's not surprising. And it is imperative that the Department of Homeland Security open up their transparency, open up the cover, and let Congress do its oversight to make sure that this lawlessness stops. It is un-American, it is unconstitutional, and it is unacceptable.
Now, once you get past the empty drug testing station, which has to feel like a blessing to whoever came in behind her, because you know they was nervous. They was either nervous, they were mad. They drank that whole. Y'all don't know about the. Nah. Water. It was water. Beyond the empty drug testing station, and once you get past the NASCAR races and the gun and trade shows, good slices of America, the multiculturalism of it all. You also have her activity online. Hello, this is apparently the top news story on Twitter, and I'm fascinated by this express sympathy towards Antifa thing. Let's see, liberal journalist sympathetic to Antifa receives ICE job offer despite failing paperwork, drug tests, and background attestations. A liberal journalist who expressed sympathy towards it. That is expressed sympathy towards Antifa. That's funny. I am anti-fascist. I am against fascism. This isn't a viewpoint I'm sympathetic to. It's my own viewpoint. Anyway, life continues to be real weird. Now, this was from the big minds over on X. You know, the kind of play, it's like if a NASCAR race and a gun and trade show had a baby and swore off college. Sympathetic towards Antifa, the kind of mental gymnastics that you have to undergo to put that sympathetic towards being against fascism. That's the lengths that you will go to absolve yourself from being literally fascism for taking that stance. A Slate reporter lied about being hired by ICE to attack DHS screening. She was never hired, never offered a job, and bailed when disclosures would expose her. This was clickbait built on deception. Hey, Kristi Noem, I got one of those influencers. Y'all got the $8 million just to blanket ICE. I got. He put that for free. He put that for you. Hey, player, get your money, player. They literally giving out money to support to put out ICE proper. That's how unpopular they are. And what you just put out there you put that out there for free. You didn't get no money for what a bad look that was.
This is Jack. He's an entrepreneur, and he wants to set up a professional website so his customers can find him online. A website.
Shame. All right, it's been 24 hours, and the secretary position, calm down narrative has had time to percolate. Seems like not vetting someone for a job with access to personnel files would be bad also. But what do I know? Anyway, the job was deportation officer. Anybody else? Anybody? And to her point, you were just a secretary, with access to sensitive files. But, you ain't got to be sober for that. Just nod off literally on the laptop and delete somebody's whole existence. That's just, it ain't. Oh, somebody else want to sign up for the Summer Jam screen? Not Kristi Noem. This is such a lazy lie. This individual was never hired. This is such a lazy lie. This individual was never offered a job at ICE. Applicants may receive a tentative selection letter following their initial application and interview. That is not a job offer. It just means they are invited to submit information for review similar to any other applicant. Okay. No, I see what's on the bottom. I see what's on the bottom. Before we even get to what's on the bottom, y'all know how we do. In a case like this, we have to evaluate the honesty and integrity of the individuals involved. Kristi Noem?
I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world.
I should not have put that anecdote in the book, and at my request, they have
That
removed
specific
it.
meeting didn't happen?
I'm saying that I'm not talking about that meeting. I'm not talking about my meetings with world leaders.
But you
there's
do
some
talk
that are
about
in the
meetings
book.
with world
There's
leaders.
some that are in the book, and then there's some that's not in the book.
All right, now let's scroll to the bottom. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. The author has provided video evidence of her ICE recruitment and hiring portal showing a tentative offer, final offer, and onboarding date. The video also shows a completed background investigation dated 6 days after her entrance on duty. Kristi Noem, you went and put that out there despite the fact that you knew that she had the goods, and you put out there. And did you think that was going to help? Y'all already down bad for the empty drug testing station. You already down bad for geofencing the NASCAR race. And you paying propaganda. Like, you already down bad. You thought disputing legitimate evidence she had already put out was going to be helpful here? Wait a minute. Aren't you talking to the same lady who, even though we all knew that we had her dead to rights about the Kim Jong-un thing and the dog thing, just refused to take the L and acknowledge it? Because she thought going on show after show and repeating that section has been removed was helpful and made her look better. So to answer your question, she probably did think this was a good move. She probably did. South Park's depictions of you are literally more accurate than the stuff you put out into the world.
And together we'll make sure everyone is in this country legally.
Oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, Laura. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, I see what you're about to do. Don't do it. Just have some humanity. You know, I don't rock with Kristi Noem neither. The way she be cosplaying what she said about Renee Good. I don't rock with her. You gonna do her like? Go ahead. No, I'm gonna read it. You sure about that? And posted a whole screen record. She screen recorded the dunk on you with the whole portal and everything. It's all literally right here.
So ultimately, when you heard back from them, what was it?
So I missed the initial email because I wasn't expecting it. Again, I expected them to Google me, and they didn't. A few days later, they sent a tentative job offer. And with that tentative job offer, they sent a bunch of paperwork that I would need to fill out for consideration. I would need to accept the tentative job offer. I needed to fill out paperwork saying I'd never been convicted of domestic violence. I needed to fill out paperwork for background check information. I needed to sign an affidavit that I could pass a PT test, all of this stuff, none of which I did because I didn't see it. And yet, apparently the application advanced anyway, because a couple weeks later, I got an email from LabCorp saying, hey, come and take a drug test for ICE. And I was pretty sure that wasn't going to work out well. Cannabis is legal in New York State, and I had partaken of it 6 days before their test date. But, you know, why not? I went ahead and took the test anyway. And then 9 days after I took that test, because they're supposed to call you when you fail. So I was curious, like, did I somehow pass this test? So I logged into the ICE hiring portal and was shocked to find that the ICE hiring portal listed me as having a final offer, as having accepted that final offer, and as having a start date of September 30th, which was 3 days before I checked the portal.
That's right. That's the world that we're living in.
Okay, so that's different than what DHS says when they posted just now a response to your story on X. And they wrote this, quote, applicants may receive a tentative selection letter following their initial application and interview that is not a job offer. It just means they are invited to submit information for review. But what you're saying is, even though you ignored it, they were ready to hire you with a start date, whole thing?
Yep. No, this is, and I went ahead and quote tweeted and replied with a video of a screen capture of what I saw when I logged into that ICE portal. What I saw was a final job offer, a start date, and a little thing that said, welcome to ICE. They can try to hide this all they want, but this was not a tentative selection letter. This was a final offer and a start date for a role as a deportation officer. And it's very funny.
I don't want it with her. No, I don't want, no, she got it. She got it. Don't let her go through your phone.
That they hired a journalist who openly despises their program. That's funny, but what's disturbing is we don't know how many other people this happened to. It seems unlikely that it was just me. We don't know who's wearing these masks with guns in our city. We don't know if they have domestic violence convictions. We don't know if the people who are manning deportation centers, detention centers, have been convicted of sex crimes or crimes against children. These are people that will neither be believed nor missed. I mean, the more you think about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, that looked like a final offer to me. That looked like a final offer because I never seen that. So I have not received no. That's how I know it's a final offer. I don't get that at all.
But wait, there's more.
You came back for more? You came back for more? Well, look, I know they love MMA. You know, MMA, people be knocked out. You jump on top of them and get you a couple free ones before the ref pull you off. Ain't nobody pulling you off. Go ahead. I always wanted to ratio the Department of Homeland Security. Ah, yes, we all saw that. We all saw that. Now here's the thing, right? Beyond the pure shame that we all feel, but we know they don't. Beyond the pure shame of putting something like that out there and disputing how damning the initial charge of hiring her with no background and no drug test and being sympathetic to Antifa, right? As problematic as all of that is. What we really have here, what they have shown is just how much double talk and how willing to deceive our federal government has become. Literally putting something out into the world that's already disputed by existing facts. And that's a problem. Incredible how blatantly DHS lies. Laura Jadid posted the proof showing the system claims she accepted a final offer, not a tentative selection on ICE's own jobs portal. Could there have been a technical error? Definitely. Perhaps DHS should look into that before lying. You giving them way too much credit. Way too much credit. Yes, there could have been a technical error that gave her the job, but you think they even consider any of that before lying? And am I supposed to pretend like there's no through line between the fact that this happened a mere week after she jumped in a news conference and declared her conclusion that Renee Good's shooting was justified immediately afterwards? But this is how you move online, and I'm supposed to act like that's not relevant.
Just like that. It's not only diapers either. We actually receive bed pads, baby wipes, and these aren't just.
Might be the greatest issue I've ever seen. It's up there. It's definitely up there. That's why they did that whole ratio. We stand by our reporting, which reveals minimal vetting in ICE's hiring process. Evidence, including video documentation, shows the journalist who reported the story advanced through multiple hiring stages beyond the tentative selection letter, including receiving a final offer letter and being given a start date. If she would have waited till Friday to post this, she probably would have got her official gun. You knew this was coming and couldn't wait to post this, could you? Hashtag chess. You know she did. You know she did. You know she had all that evidence. She was like, I ain't gonna put it all. No, because I know what they're gonna do. I know what they're gonna do. I've been watching them. I know what they're gonna do. I'm just, no. She gonna be my D Wade, and I'm gonna be like LeBron. You know what I mean? I got you. Like Kobe to Shaq back in the day. Huh? Oh, George Gervin, Iceman. Yeah, that's the official jersey for all my ICE stories. At least until I wear it out and I gotta buy a new one. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Well, what do you think?
What's up, MTV? Come on in, you broke mother.
I'm in my new space. I had teased it to you guys. And here it is. You know what? I like it. It's very well lit. Hopefully we can make the night videos not look like hostage content. And I was able to bring in a lot of the stuff you guys enjoyed from the last set. You know, I had to have Bob in here. I had to find a way to get Bob in here some kind of way. And of course I had to have a jersey. That's going to rotate. Don't worry about that. And we might even be able to rotate this mug right here, but we got some more space around here. So, you know, I'm accepting gifts. That's a joke, but I do be accepting gifts though.
What do you mean by that?
And right here, we have an original Basquiat. I couldn't get that in the old set, but I wanted to, you can't have an original Basquiat and not have it on your set. I got that during Art All Night from a guy downtown 19th Street, his name Original. So that is an original Basquiat. He sold me that one.
Look at my chandelier. It's $2 million. It's made out of expensive chicken dinners I've eaten over the years.
But ultimately, this was a move that the success of the channel enabled. You guys made this a possibility for me to revamp my space and make it easier to produce content for you.
Yeah.
So if you hadn't had an opportunity, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, or you can join as a member right here on YouTube or at Patreon at patreon.com/FreezeWaters, where you can get the weekly newsletter. But you can also sign up for the monthly, which is free. And while we're talking about pictures, I received this one, wife Danielle and husband Steve watching Reese chilling in our RWs.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick song break. And after the song break, we got to get into Don Lemon and Stephen A. Smith. This one's going to be real interesting as well. But y'all head on over and check out Reese Waters' channel. Please subscribe to the channel and become a member. I'm a member over there. Excellent content. But yeah, that's Kristi Noem for you. This is ridiculous. Like, I don't know what y'all think. Y'all drop down in the comments. Let me know. Do you pay attention to this? What are your thoughts and feelings? Like, how is this possible? The journalist lady said that she was given the job without even clicking on or having knowledge of the email and the offer. She did not do any type of interview, no drug test, no background check, nothing. Just giving a job to be an ICE officer, unknowing to her. That's crazy. Do you think this is how many of the other ICE agents and officers got their position? And if they did, it's kind of scary, isn't it? Anyway, let's take this quick song break, y'all, and we'll be right back with our final video of the night, Don Lemon and Stephen A. Smith.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let it ring out loud. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea, like the mighty waters. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. We remember it all. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Hope is alive, yeah. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on. Let's keep marching till victory is won. Stony the road we trod. Bitter the casting right. But we're still here. Steady
Stephen A. Smith has just been a disappointment. I try not to criticize, especially black men or just black people in general, because we get so much, the rules are different for us. But Stephen A. Smith goes off and he talks about that he has no idea about. He has talked about me, but no facts. He knows how to get in touch with me. He could have called me. He has no facts. He just gets on these like white boy, right-wing podcasts or on his own show and just goes off about black people and things that for which he has no clue.
Yeah.
And he thinks because he's doing it like this, that people are going to listen to him. What's wrong with you? I'm like, what am I watching? Is this Sanford and Son? You old fish-eyed fool. I'm like, what is he doing?
On his independent show, Don Lemon roasted ESPN's Stephen A. Smith.
It's just shocking to me, this sort of cozying up to white people. And it's got to be for the money.
Yeah.
I wrote a book about it.
Because we talked about it, Clay. We talked about it. If I became a black conservative, I would be rich like a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or if I just went on and started like bashing black people just to bash them. And it seems that's become his stock in trade. And to make excuses for white people and to cozy up to people like Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
Like, what? What are you doing, Stephen A? Like, what? Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself all the way to the bank, but still, it's embarrassing for you, for the ancestors, for young black people, and for all black people. He's one of those black people, like a number of the black people who are on the networks who white people think black people like, but we don't. And so they put them up there. Let's put up John, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And we'll hear from the black community. And black people are like, I don't want to hear from him.
Right.
He don't represent us. And Stephen A. Smith does not represent us. Black people don't want to hear from him, networks. We don't like him. And it's not because he's black. It is because he's black. It's because he's black and he's a sellout. That's why we don't like him.
And let me tell you, the roasts would continue. Recall when Stephen A. did this.
I just disagree on what she's making headlines for because I think it's counterproductive to the ultimate goal. But yet, here we are, and the word disrespect comes in, and people try to engage with words, like disrespect and implying misogyny and all of this other nonsense. Stop it. Could you just disagree? Could we just say, yo, Stephen A., I disagree with you. Here's why. We got Willie D. Put up that quote, please. He's putting out quotes or text or tweets about me. Let's see that again. Stephen A. Smith taking shots at Jasmine Crockett ain't just messy, it's weak. Dude is sitting on one of the biggest mics in America, and instead of using it to uplift, he's tearing down a black woman who's out here putting in real work. That ain't critique, that's betrayal. Jasmine Crockett ain't the problem. She's the kind of woman who walks into rooms full of snakes and makes the snakes flinch. Meanwhile, Stephen's showing what happens when a paycheck gets louder than the principal. That sucker straight up, end quote. Wow, Willie D. You sure are uplifting.
He attacked Jasmine Crockett with what I could only diatribe. Then Crockett would go on Lemon's show, which they posted on Instagram, and say this.
I just want to say, can we get some of these bojankety, tap dancing, ignorant brothers out here, black men, to stop attacking black women publicly, especially when they don't know what the F they're talking about?
Everybody saw the movie Django Unchained. Remember the name of the person who cared more about the love of the slave master than he did about the love of his people or the care for his people? His name was Stephen. And Stephen was somebody who was willing to sell out his fellow African enslaved people. So what I would say to the Stephens who are in our world today, understand that the master will never love you.
There are people that have taken the time to understand that I always keep at the forefront the people that elected me to DC. What you see, if you're not in my district, may not necessarily be all of the substance that also comes with me, but there is plenty of substance. And if anybody ever wanted to ask, just like anything else, I always have receipts for the work that I have done. So I will just say that I appreciate the community and the culture, because this is something that I never even had to address or deal with, because the community decided to speak up before I even knew what was happening. I mean, but I haven't even experienced that type of stuff coming out of even Black men on the other side of the aisle in Congress. They even have enough respect to say we disagree on this policy or whatever, and we'll go back and forth. But like, they have not tried to do what somebody else tried to do. So it's all good.
In that first video.
All right, sales team.
Don Lemon would go in on Stephen A. regarding his comments about Renee Nicole Good. Here is part of that. I saw the video on numerous occasions, and seeing what transpired from a lawful perspective as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified, quipped Stephen A. From Mediaite, Lemon said on his Friday pod that Stephen A's stock and trade had moved from sports to bashing Black people. YouTuber AT2 also had a breakdown.
And it's not even that he's weak, it's that he does this on purpose. If you look at the people who go on his show, it's mostly right-wingers. It's people like, he loves Megyn Kelly. Out of all the people, you love blackface Megyn Kelly. You know, when she said blackface is okay, she also pushes the whole brown.
Reason that Stephen A is going in this direction. So I'll just do it once more. He is one of those guys who has said, you know, Black people need to stop voting for left wingers, and there needs to be a fleeing of one side of the political aisle. This was on CNN years ago. He even said that he would look at voting for Mitt Romney over Barack Obama. He has given these comments over and over and over again. And what I want to present to you is a man who is in it for himself, does not care about community building, does not care about anything else other than his finances. And he has talked about this before. He has called himself a staunch capitalist. He has launched different projects, which is fine. Let me be clear. But what it shows is that he will, in his segments and on his now new podcast on SiriusXM, that he will trample over, attack, and bombard others who have notable spotlights in order to elevate him. And in the process, from basically threatening Kevin Durant, saying essentially that Janae Palmer, when she got punched by Ray Rice in an elevator, that he tries to warn the women in his life not to invoke a response out of a man like that, which Michelle Beadle went ham on him for, rightfully so. And he's even gone back and forth about practically apologizing at this point. He has been kinder and softer with Riley Gaines, Steve Bannon, Byron Donalds, and Hakeem Jeffries than he has Jamil Hill, Carrie Champion, and Jasmine Crockett. At this point, it is not rocket science to follow the patterns here. It's practically basic algebra. This man has a theme, and he knows what he's doing. When you court someone like Ben Shapiro and you glaze them in an interview, it's a tell. It's a big, big tell. It's also a tell with the names that I mentioned that he would refuse to state Michelle Beadle's name. And really on the Richter scale, I'm sorry, on a rating scale, go more so like a 3 out of 10 with how he went in his video. And then compare and contrast with what he said about Jamil Hill, Jasmine Crockett, and Carrie Champion. It is night and day. And all that we're seeing are many who are not only popular and have big audiences, but have also seen the mainstream route of media going fully independent and being able to call someone like this out. They are also following the pattern. So, look, I suppose at this point, you have seen enough, as I have too. You cannot side with this man. Because this whole running for president shindig, it's over. He's unpopular. But
All right, y'all. Can y'all hear me? I am so sorry. The StreamYard threw me out, kicked me out, and so it logged me out, and I had to log back in and start all over, y'all. So y'all just give me just a few seconds. I'm gonna get everything back in order so we can finish off this live. I'm so sorry for the interruption. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm gonna get it all fixed here, y'all. So just give me just a second, okay? Anyway, so a lot of what was being said, not just by Don Lemon, Jasmine Crockett, and Joy Reid, I honestly agree on. I have watched Stephen A. Smith for some time now. I first was introduced to him when it came to ESPN, and so I watched him there. But even on ESPN, in a way, sometimes he would cover and talk about other athletes that seem to be Black or African American athletes, whether he would claim that they're his favorite or not. There's a lot of bias that he seemed to have, like a lot of hatred that he seemed to have. And I noticed that about him starting there, right? Speaking or doing sports reporting. And then now he has his own podcast. I noticed that on his own podcast, there is also as well in his heart that it seems that he has for Black people. And let's be clear, one of the biggest is Black women. And so these are things that I have just bear witness to by watching the content. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to it or seen it from him, but it seems to be a pattern that he has. Like there's some type of issue that he has with his own people. He's very judgmental, and he gets a little bit hostile when it comes to talking about things. But anyway, I have a second report that I want to show you guys about this interaction and some of the things that were said. And then we're going to get into our final video for the evening, which is going to be, unfortunately, actually directly from him and his response to all of this. So let's go ahead and play this video real quick, y'all, and then we will get into his response. But I do apologize for that interruption. I do not know what happened. Something's going on with the StreamYard, but I'm back in now, so I do apologize. But let's get into this, y'all. Here we go.
For Hype Plus News, I'm Bevan.
Black people don't like me? I'm from Hollis, Queens, bro. I'm from the streets of New York City. I go to the streets of America everywhere.
As you should know, 2026 in the world of Black media and politics has already erupted with one of the most polarizing culture clashes we've seen in years. And at the center of it is ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith. Over the past week, Smith has faced intense backlash following a series of comments he made regarding the fatal ICE shooting of Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old white mother and community observer who was killed during an immigration and customs enforcement operation. Smith described the killing as legally justified, choosing to frame the incident through a narrow legal lens rather than centering the loss of an American citizen's life or the broader pattern of ICE violence. That framing immediately drew criticism.
I saw the video on numerous occasions. And seeing what transpired from a lawful perspective, as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified. From a humanitarian perspective, however, why did you have to do that?
Former CNN host Don Lemon publicly condemned Smith, saying that he has become one of those Black figures that white audiences assume represent Black people, when in Lemon's words, they do not. According to reports, Lemon publicly criticized Smith on his show, labeling his commentary as a disappointment and accusing him of cozying up to white people, while making excuses for them, particularly with his recent takes on high-profile cultural and political issues.
Look, I try not to criticize, especially Black men or just Black people in general. Stephen A. Smith goes off and he talks about shit that he has no idea about. He has talked shit about me, but no facts. He just gets on these like white boy, right-wing podcasts or on his own show and just goes off about Black people and things that for which he has no clue.
Yeah.
And he thinks because he's doing it like this, it's just shocking to me, this sort of cozying up to white people. And it's got to be for the money. I just went on and started like bashing black people just to bash them. And it seems that's become his stock in trade.
More specifically, Lemon said, Stephen A. Smith goes off and talks about things he has no idea about. One of those black people that white people think black people like, and we don't. Stephen A. Smith does not represent us. Adding fuel to the fire, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett even commented under Lemon's clip, writing, 3 of my faves. All I have to say is Stephen is synonymous with the modern day Django. Don't be a Stephen A., especially right now. Meanwhile, other prominent commentators like Joy Reid also weighed in, telling Smith to stick to sports while calling out what she sees as his pattern of harsh critique directed specifically towards Black women and Black public figures. Despite growing criticism, Smith doubled down, claiming that his detractors represent only a small portion of Black voices and questioning whether Black people truly dislike him. In the process, some of Smith's language towards critics crossed into deeply offensive territory, further inflaming tensions.
Black people don't like me? I'm from Hollis, Queens, bro. I'm from the streets of New York City. I go to the streets of America everywhere, all over this country. I'm inside and outside arenas. I'm the ambassador for HBCU Week. In concert with Ashley Christopher and other people, I've helped generate over 12,000 scholarships and of $150 million for Black students. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I was raised by 5 Black women, Joy. I have 9 nieces, 2 daughters, everybody Black. I still go on to Hollis. ESPN takes our show, First Take, to HBCUs. Black people don't like me? You sure? Walt Disney and HBCUs, when we start going on tours every year. We've been to Delaware State. We've been to Bethune-Cookman, Norfolk State. We've been to Winston-Salem State. We've been to Savannah State. Oh, yeah. We're going to Texas Southern next month in concert with the very organization that I work for that you accused me of being paid by just to talk about white, just to talk nastiest things about Black people. What about what I celebrate?
But the outrage did not stop with Renee Good. While Smith used his massive platform to justify ISIS actions and Good's killing, he failed to meaningfully acknowledge or even mention the death of Keith Porter Jr., a 40-year-old Black father of 2 who was fatally shot by an off-duty ICE agent in Los Angeles on New Year's Eve. Porter's family and community members are still demanding accountability, with no charges announced and no mounting pressure on local officials. Let's be clear and precise because words matter. Stephen A. Smith is not Django. He is Stephen, Samuel L. Jackson's character in Django Unchained. And the fact that they share the same name is almost poetic. Django was enslaved. Stephen shows proximity to whiteness and power. This moment is not about disagreement or differing of opinions. It is about the dangers of Black capitalism without Black accountability. Stephen A. Smith represents the class of Black media figures who thrive not by challenging systems that harm us, but by managing Black dissent in ways that keep white-owned platforms comfortable. Social media and corporate media have created modern-day gatekeepers, Black voices who get rewarded for disciplining Black people publicly, especially Black women. While calling it logic, balance, or truth, they profit from controversy, extract value from Black pain, and call it commentary. That is why his defense of ICE in the killing of Renee Good is so disturbing. A wife, a daughter, a mother, a human being is dead. And instead of condemning the institution responsible, he centered legal technicalities. Even worse, he failed to use his platform to acknowledge Keith Porter Jr., a Black man killed by ICE under similar circumstances. That silence is not accidental, it is strategic. When your platform survives by protecting institutions that terrorize Black communities while criticizing Black people for reacting to that terror, you are not misunderstood. You are understood perfectly well. This is Black capitalism at its most corrosive, where access replaces accountability, where proximity to power gets mistaken for progress, where selling out is reframed as independence. And when he asks is, why don't Black people like me? We all know that's weaponized incompetence. We recognize the BS from a mile away. Representation without responsibility is betrayal. Let's really talk about it more in the comments. For High Plus News, I'm Bevan.
Running a business is one thing. Getting people to know about it.
All right, y'all. So that was just some of the reports that was from Comedy High Plus News, and they basically broke it down perfectly. A lot of the same thoughts and feelings and opinions that they have are the same thoughts and feelings and opinions that I have. And again, that is exactly what they are: thoughts, feelings, and opinions. But you guys let me know what y'all think. We're going to get into this last video real quickly, y'all, because we're approaching the 2-hour mark. So based off of all of these things that were said, Stephen A. Smith had a response. So let's get into it. I'm pretty sure that within said response, we can actually prove and double down on the fact that, you know, he moves and operates the way he does. Because when you get people mad enough, the truth comes out. So I'm going to have to skip around just a bit, y'all, because it is a long video. We won't be playing all of it, but I want to play the impertinent conversation for y'all to hear as far as his response. So let's go ahead and get into it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this latest edition of Straight Shooter with Stephen A. Coming at you, as I love to do, at least several times a week on Wednesday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. I come at you from Sirius XM Polish Radio Channel 124, and I will most certainly be doing that with you tomorrow night. As I've told you on several occasions over the last few weeks, I try to come on the air every Monday and Friday, but this Monday I had to do Monday Night Football for ESPN, and so that's why I'm doing something today. And it's apropos because I have to address stuff that pretty much nobody wants me to address. They want me to leave it alone because their attitude is you just give fodder to folks are looking for clicks and stuff like that. I'm not going to classify the people I'm talking about.
What do you think about T-Mobile Home Internet only being $35 a month?
We need to take your mind off of this. Come check out my new man cave.
T-Mobile's got home internet, just $35 a month, and it's guaranteed for 5 years.
As individuals just searching for clicks. They're accomplished individuals in our profession, in my profession, as well as in politics. And because of that, I'm going to show them a level of respect they certainly haven't showed me. But I'm certainly going to speak on the issues that they've addressed. I'm talking about Joy Reid, formerly of MSNBC. I'm talking about Don Lemon, formerly of CNN. I'm talking about Representative Jasmine Crockett, who for some reason, once again, went on social media to denigrate me. There's no other way to put it. So let me get started with a couple of things first. Joy Reid decides to put out some videos of me talking about keeping receipts because she wanted to put forth a compilation of me talking about Black people and comparing that to me talking to white people like Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro and people like that. I'm not getting into that. That's nonsense. You can clip and edit any way you want to and contextualize things in your own way. I'm not falling for that. But what I would like to do is address the incentive and the motivation that appears behind the attacks that they have aimed in my direction. First order of business is Joy Reid. Joy Reid was on a podcast. I believe it's my former colleague Kerry Champion's podcast entitled Naked. And listen or look at what Joy Reid had to say about me, and I'll read it to you. You got $100 million for a show with half my ratings at my worst. They're paying you, meaning ESPN, because you are willing to say the nasty things about Black people that they want to say. You're willing to take their denigration of Black women and put it in the mouth of a Negro, end quote. Before I address what Joy Reid, what I just read to you, came out of her mouth on that podcast, ladies and gentlemen, this woman is of the mindset that somehow, some way she's been insulted by me because when she got fired by MSNBC, I had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to say this. I've invited Joy Reid on this show, and I'm looking forward to her accepting my invitation so we can talk. Let me tell you how I feel about Joy Reid first. I respect the hell out of this woman. She is highly intelligent, very, very knowledgeable, very passionate. She has a lot to say. She is more than a conscientious observer, and she is fearless in calling out what she believes to be inequities, unfairness, and the like anywhere, but especially as it pertains to the Black community, and obviously as it pertains to leftists, to folks on the left. But when we want to bring up race as the cause for her being gone, I don't think we're serving ourselves well. Michael Steele is going to be there as well as a replacement, along with Alicia. And you got to remember Menendez is right there as well. It's hard to make the race argument when her replacements are reported to be 3 individuals that already have a weekend show on the network, and they're going to be inserted in the network. And I'm just reading from the reports here. Okay, I have not spoken to Joy Reid. I don't know. I've had the pleasure of meeting her on a couple of occasions. I certainly respect her. And I'm not here to castigate her in any way, but we do have to talk about the business in a very, very honest and fair fashion. Joy Reid was incredibly outspoken against the Trump administration, as has always been the case. Since election, her ratings have dropped by 47%. 47%. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't keep your job when stuff like that happens. You just don't. The business doesn't allow for that to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the only time I've ever spoken about Joy Reid.
All right, y'all. So I just wanted to insert just for a moment. Listen, I'm very intelligent. I'm hearing what is being said, and I understand why he's saying the things he's saying. You have to make some type of argument as to, the things that you were saying about the woman, but do you understand the severity of the situation and the actual real reason as to why they wanted to silence that said woman? It's probably 50% because she is a Black woman, but also 50% because she's a Black woman that is going to report on a news station and speak the truth when it comes to issues that we have with race in this country, in this world. And a lot of individuals do not want those type of conversations and those raw truths being spoke about or being heard. That was the plight and the fight of not just Joy Reid, but other Black reporters as well. Remember, you should know because you worked for ESPN, so you remember that there was also another Black woman that spoke up the same exact way and kept it all the way 100 and real about not just how she felt, but about what was realistically happening within our country and this world when it comes to race. And I get so tired of people saying that we can't talk about it. Why can't we talk about something that is actually at our doorsteps and sometimes moves across those doorsteps and comes into our homes? Okay. Or when we are out in public, things that we have to deal with where we can't even go to a grocery store sometimes without these said experiences. So when you want to sweep it under the rug and act like these things don't happen, and you want to be someone with your tongue tied that doesn't want to talk about it, and there is another individual that wants to talk about it and keep it real, that is the activism of it all. That is us standing up for the issues that we have in our community amongst our people in this world. And when people talk about that too much, or when people talk about that consistently and bring that to the forefront so we don't forget it and we don't sweep it under the rug and pretend like it's not a thing and it doesn't happen, there's another group of people in place that don't want those conversations to be had, and they don't like them, because the truth sometimes, when it's in your face and it's constantly being repeated to you and called out to you, it makes you feel very uncomfortable. You start to wiggle in your seat and you start to feel panic. And we do have reporters and individuals such as the Joy Reids and the Don Lemons that have decided, and the Roland Martins, that have decided that they are going to hold panels, have conversations, and be on platforms where they're going to speak about that. And since they couldn't do it when they were in mainstream news spaces, they decided to get back up on the horse and do it independently, because these conversations need to be had. This truth needs to be put out. Now you feel as though it is an okay issue and an okay problem for this woman to constantly remind the country, remind the world of the racism that is still here and never has gone anywhere. And because there was a network that had a problem with that, now all of a sudden she's the issue. That is exactly the problem, Stephen A. Smith. That is why people say you are the way you are, because you're not understanding that. You're not getting the importance of that. You would rather probably not speak on those things or water them down or sweep them under the rug, because you're comfortable in doing so, with living and walking in the lie. Other people are not going to do that. And if you come against those people and have these high judgments towards individuals that move and operate and speak this way, it speaks volumes about who you are at the core and what you really are willing to stand for or sit for. And a lot of people think that you're a sitter, because it doesn't seem like you're standing for much. Because if you did, you would not come out of your mouth and speak against a Joy Reid. You would not come out of your mouth and speak against a Don Lemon. You would not come out of your mouth and speak against a Jasmine Crockett. You wouldn't speak against any of those people, because you know that the things that they're fighting for and they're speaking towards are actually important when it comes to our community and our people. So when people question you or they compare you to like a Steven in the movie Django, do you not see how you don't kind of actually look and move and operate like Steven in Django? And y'all just happen to have the same name. That is the severity of the matter. And it's not just you, there's other individuals that move and operate the way you do too. So your whole argument that you're having right now is proving the point of what people are saying about you and feel about you. But I guess you wouldn't get that now, would you? Let's keep going. What more do you have to say?
That right before my interview with Lindsay Davis for ABC News Live the other day. That right there is apparently what she found to be disrespectful. That right there is what she appears to deduce as being denigrating and insulting to Black women.
Is that an iPhone 17?
Switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
You get a new iPhone.
What do you want me to say? Joy Reid, beyond a conscientious observer, somebody who unapologetically fights on behalf of us as a community every chance she gets. Whether we agree or disagree with tactics from time to time, verbiage from time to time, etc., there is no doubt where her loyalty and her conscience lies. All I was pointing out was, you've gone after Trump
albeit legitimately in your mind and that of many, many others who watched your show? Did you take into account the fact that he might win and what that might ultimately do? Because you know how he is and you know he's coming. And sure enough, a couple of months later, it ended up happening. So when it ended up happening, I was making the point because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the business. Not only
All I'm hearing when he says that is, girl, you best get in line, child. You best keep your head down and keep your mouth quiet because Trump is going to possibly get into office. And all of this talking that you're doing about him, he going to come after you in your job. You best not mess with Massa. That's how you sound. It reminds me of the conversation that Steve Harvey had with Monique when she was on his show. I'll tell you how to do it. You should have called me. I would have told you how to move and operate. It's coonery. People will get mad at me for saying that, but I got to speak it like it is. Y'all fearful. Y'all walk in fear. Other people don't walk in fear. Y'all walk with y'all heads down and y'all mouths closed and y'all play the game. You go along, get alongs. Just like Kwame Brown. He got all of this great content over on his channel and some, little videos and memes and things that he made. And I'm telling you, I should play one at the end of this video because I'm going to show you just exactly what you look like. You are part of the go along, get along gang. And you're speaking go along, get along rhetoric and language right now. And anybody who's really fighting for what's right has no fear to say what they need to say, no matter what the outcome is going to be, because they want to speak for their people and for the cause. We can hear that clear as day, bro. Clear as day. That's what you're saying. I'm in the business. Yeah, we know you in the business. We know you're probably getting paid pretty decently in the business. And look how you move and operate that said business. And to sit up here and pass judgment to other Black individuals because all they want to do is tell the truth to the country, to the world about what is really happening. And sometimes we got to have those hard conversations when it comes to race. I don't know why it's so uncomfortable for people to have those conversations. I even notice it on my platform. As soon as I start talking about it, people disappear and they run and they flee. If you're fleeing and you're running and you're scared, there's got to be a reason for that. It makes you uncomfortable. And I'm sorry that the truth and the history and the reality of what is still currently happening in this world when it comes to race needs to be spoke about, makes you uncomfortable. I don't know why. That's something you have to ask yourself and stand in the mirror and deal with on your own time. But do not sit here and throw people under the bus or make them feel as though they're doing something wrong because they speak on these things, the things that you won't speak on because you want to go along to get along. Am I right or am I wrong? Y'all let me know. It's my opinion and my feeling. But do y'all agree with what I'm saying? Or do you have a rebuttal? If anybody has a rebuttal or a different point of view, I'm very open to that. Y'all let me know. But this is literally how I feel about these type of situations. And they get me very revved up and they get me very hot because I see it happening time and time again. Our own people want to go along and get along and not speak about what needs to be spoken about because they're too fearful to do so because they think they're going to lose their job. They think they're going to lose their opportunity. They think they're going to lose their representation or their invitation to the country club. And there's people out here that don't care about any of that. We don't need to have a seat at a table of people that are just what? Tolerating us, not accepting us. That's the whole importance of the situation and conversation, in my opinion.
only that, I've had a show that was canceled in 2007. So I was simply making the point that in our business, particularly when you're Black, regardless of the reasons behind why a precipitous fall off may occur, you kind of know what's going to happen. That's it. And because of that, she went on the air weeks ago and said what she said about me. And when I elaborated, on what she said and gave my response to Lindsay Davis, all of a sudden she's out with some videos or whatever showing receipts, whatever. Say what you want. It doesn't matter because I understand from a contextual standpoint, I did nothing wrong to you. And the venom and the viciousness that you choose to show, cool, no problem, I can take it. It's all right, keep it coming. Do what you got to do. If that's how you feel. My name is spelled with a PH, not a V. And even though you'll get your clicks and you'll get your notoriety and people in the audience will gravitate to you, well, guess what? They're going to gravitate to me too. And oh, by the way, you said that the ratings was more than mine. Again, context matters. You do understand I'm on at 10 in the morning. And they just finished reading the article about First Take having record ratings in the year 2025. Same year your show was canceled. You have more ratings, but prime time, which is when you on, comes with a different set of responsibilities. I did not wish for your show to get canceled. I have news for you, Joy Reid. I still wish you on the air. Because regardless of what bad cynics and critics and others want to say you did, I also know that you did a lot of good. Which is what I said when I talked to you, when I talked about you, I'm sorry.
How come when he always trying to explain something or call himself apologizing, he always backpedal? If you have no problems with these individuals, you love them, you support them, you want to uplift them, you want to see them do well, why do you get on that microphone and talk the most cash money bullshit? Excuse my language, but that is a whole load of crap. And people are tired of it because they know what the gaslighting and the lies look like. You lie. You sit up there and you say these things when you get caught and you get exposed and you get embarrassed. And then now all of a sudden you want to, you know what, butt kiss. Sir, quit it right now. Nobody's buying it and falling for it. If you felt that way from the very start, you wouldn't come out your mouth and say the things that you do when you do, the way you do. That's how I feel. I don't handle anybody with no pacifier that's a grown man and knows what they're doing. You know exactly what you're doing when you do it. And then when you get called out for it, you get dragged for it, you get embarrassed, and people start coming for you. Now, all of a sudden, you love these people so much. You support them so much. They're so great. You wish that she was still back on the show. You had all of that same type of energy when the situation went down with the things you said about Jasmine Crockett. Then you get up there with your half-ass apologies, trying to say, I love Jasmine, I support Jasmine Crockett. I would never want to make her feel that way. Then why did you do it? Why did you do it? Why do you do these things and say these things if you have so much love and care for these Black women or these Black people? Why do you come out of your mouth and drag them the way you do? Yes, you have the freedom to your opinion, your thoughts, just like everybody else does. But sir, you know you get real lethal with it. And then when you get caught and you get exposed and the stuff start going viral and you get embarrassed, now you want to come back and butt kiss. And you think that people are going to sit there and accept an apology like that from you. That's not even an apology. That's you trying to dig your way out of the daggone quicksand that you done fell into because you done put your foot in your mouth. Let's be very clear about that. That's exactly what it is, sir. And you keep doing it time after time after time. And you keep getting stung and burned, don't you? So why have you not learned your lesson yet? Why you keep doing the things that you do? Because this is who you are at the core. This is how you move and this is how you operate. And you know what they're saying is true. You get a heavy, heavy check, allegedly, for doing that to your own people. And what matters to you more than your people is that check and that opportunity and that seat that you get to sit in. And everybody needs to be clear about that because he ain't the only one. It's a lot of people that operate like that. We witnessed that here on this YouTube platform. Go along, get along gang. That's what you're part of for life. You might as well get you a blazer with an emblem on it and rep it real good, because that's exactly who you are and how you move. Sorry.
Back then, I talked about the business, but I also talked about the quality of work that you brought to the airwaves. I did that. That's what I did. But that seems to be ignored. Denigrating, disrespecting Black women. I'll get into that in a second.
You do.
But obviously, we don't want to stop with you, because Don Lemon, who was at CNN for 17 years, he had something to say about me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm the world's greatest advertisement.
Show did. And you see how they try to do this stuff, like call out how long you been at a network, how long you been on your job, you ain't there no more. It's like they almost laughing at it.
Been a disappointment. I try not to criticize, especially Black men or just Black people in general. But Stephen A. Smith goes off and he talks about shit that he has no idea about. He has talked shit about me, but no facts. He has no facts. He just gets on these like white boy, right-wing podcasts or on his own show and just goes off about Black people and things that for which he has no clue.
Yeah.
And he thinks because he's doing it like this, that people are going to listen to him. What's wrong with you? I'm like, what am I watching? It's just shocking to me, this sort of cozying up to white people. And it's got to be for the money. But if I became a Black conservative, I would be rich, like a gazillionaire. Or if I just went on and started like bashing Black people just to bash them. And it seems that's become his stock and trade, to make excuses for white people and to cozy up to people like Megyn Kelly. He's one of those Black people who white people think Black people like, but we don't. And Stephen A. Smith does not represent us. Black people don't want to hear from him, networks. We don't like him.
I just want to make sure I understand this clearly. Don Lemon speaks for Black people more than me. Don Lemon speaks for Black people, period. Really? I won't go there. I won't even go there. I'm just not going to do it.
I've watched both of these men in both of their platforms, not just when they were on mainstream media platforms, but even after they started their own platforms and podcasts. And I'm sorry, I see Don speaking up for Black issues, important Black issues and Black matters, more than I see Stephen A. Smith speaking up for them. Stephen A. Smith speaks against them. He criticizes them. The Black person is always wrong. They need to be quiet. They need to sit down. They need to do better. These are the type of rhetorics and things that I hear Stephen A. Smith say. When I hear Don Lemon speak, he's speaking in an activist way, bringing things to the awareness in the forefront that are actually happening, that are important, that we need to pay attention to, that they otherwise would just sweep under the rug on mainstream medias because they get paid to do so. And these are individuals that decided they were tired of having their tongues tied and their lips sealed when it comes to talking about the important matters that happen amongst Black people and within the Black community. The difference between them and you is you're still there tap dancing. They decided not to. Does that make you feel a type of way? Because all you got to do is make your decision and your choice. If you say you really rock with your people, you care about your people issues, why you can't talk about it in a real way? Why you got to always make some type of excuse about it? Why you always got to tap dance around it? Why is it always got to be the Black person's fault as to why it's happening? Am I saying it's not sometimes fault on Black people for certain things that happen or experiences that happen? I'm not saying that. But why is it always that with you? So yeah, you talk about Black people and the Black community and Black issues. You talk about it, you bring it up, but you're talking points. That's the issue. How are you talking about it? What are you talking about? What is the actual lesson or message that you are giving out to all of the followers and listeners that you have when you speak? Yeah, that's the issue. So when you're questioning a Don Lemon, does he talk about it? Then you said you're not even gonna go there. Where you don't want to go, bro? Because I think I already know where you would want to go, because you a petty person like that. And guess what? He still got the courage to do. Talk about Black issues. Talk about how racist white people are, despite the fact that his husband may be white. And guess what? His husband respects it. Because there are people out here that get it, no matter what race they are. So I'm not one of those people either that say all other races and all white people are bad. Never said that, never believed that, will never say that or believe that. There's people that's down and they get down with the get down, and there's people that don't. And we know that that's true. So I'm just curious what it is that you would like to say that you say you're not going to go there about. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because that's how these petty people do when they have no other argument.
I want y'all to understand as an audience. Let me say this about Don Lemon. My sister Carmen loves this man. Loves herself some Don Lemon. So much so to the point that not only did she watch him every night, she'd call us half the time to make sure we were watching him most of the night. For somebody that don't know much, and who is he, and he doesn't represent us, and blah, 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 you could, if you did your research, notice that I was a guest on Don Lemon's show on several occasions in the past. I never asked to come on. He asked me to come on. And I tried to go whenever asked, because me, like I'm sure many others felt, you see a Black host on television, you want to help. Don Lemon said that I talked shit about him. Ladies and gentlemen, evidently, this right here is Don Lemon's definition of shit. Listen up. See, I did some research. Okay? And here is the reality of the situation. When you look at Don Lemon tonight, that's what his show was called, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when he followed up Chris Cuomo. His ratings were his best during the Trump years in office. But even at that time, never averaged more than 1.1 million viewers, according to the reports. Shortly after Trump left office in January of 2021, his ratings steadily declined. And it wasn't long before CNN's primetime ratings overall were down over 50% post-Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part where we all need to grow up. In the business that we're in, I'm in it. I've been in it for decades. You're not keeping your job when those kind of numbers are on the books. You're not doing it. Because advertisers and sponsors who want to support your product are going to go to where the ratings are. When I was watching one of the 3 shows at 10 o'clock at night on news, it was his show I was watching, not the other 2. But evidently, the numbers say I was in a minority. And again, no disrespect. I like Don. I like his work. I wish him nothing but the best. I'm not here to excoriate him. I'm only talking facts. And Don would appreciate this, because Don is a fact-based person. That's what he swears to be. I see no reason to denigrate him in any way. But if Don was doing a story on Stephen A., which he has,
and the reports were out there, Don would be reading from the reports just like I'm reading now. Everybody knows this. He would be reading them. And he would be saying, this is Stephen A's numbers compared to such and such numbers and such numbers. And if I was in last place, he would say he's in last place. That's his reality.
That's the definition of disrespect to them. That something happens involving you in the news, you're the headline, you're the story, I talk about it, and I read the facts that were put in publications. And because of that,
What do you think about T-Mobile home internet only being $35 a month?
I'm just catering to white folks and talking about folks and all of this other stuff. I say that, I played that clip because Don Lemon specifically said I was talking shit about him. I've never talked shit about you. I've had you on this show. I showed you nothing but respect when you were here. I showed you nothing but respect when I came onto your shows. I've never spoken against you, ever, ever. This pattern that's taking place that I'm witnessing transpire before my very eyes right now. I'm not blind. I see what's going on. And it's one thing. It's very, very simple to disagree with me. It's very, very simple to say that I'm wrong. It's very, very simple to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Cool. Black people don't like me. That's a very, very, very personal shot. What if I got personal about Don Lemon? You want to talk about black people and your relationship with black people compared to others and who likes other people, who black people like and who they don't. We all got receipts. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you. It's unnecessary. You have your YouTube show. Joy's doing her thing with you and without you. I'm wishing y'all success. But what y'all are doing right now is vicious. I can take it. I'm going to continue to take it. It's spelled with a PH, not a V. Feel free. A in the middle of the initial. Go ahead, knock yourself out. I can take it. But it don't make you right. And it damn sure don't make you righteous. The reality of the situation is that you're basically sitting up there and pulling a Laura Ingraham. With LeBron, shut up and dribble. You're telling me to shut up and stick to sports. It's the fact that I'm touching on stuff that's essentially news and what have you. It's got y'all up in a tizzy. Joy, you brought up Ben Shapiro. I've met the man once. I interviewed him twice. I've met Megyn Kelly once. I've interviewed her twice. You know what we did? We sat down and we talked about our disagreements. I would have afforded that to Don had he called. Not now. I would have afforded that to Joy if she had called. Not now. Because it's gotten personal. And I'm not going to get personal. I'm just not going to waste my time. Black people don't like me. I'm from Hollis, Queens, bro. I'm from the streets of New York City. I go to the streets of America everywhere, all over this country. I'm inside and outside arenas. I'm inside and outside local businesses and stuff like that. I'm the ambassador for HBCU Week. In concert with Ashley Christopher and other people, I've helped generate over 12,000 scholarships in excess of $150 million for Black students. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
I ain't just down with a fraternity. That's a brotherhood. All of them are my boys. I was raised by 5 black women, Joy. I have 9 nieces. I have 2 daughters. Everybody black. I still go home to Hollis. On the business side, ESPN takes our show, First Take, to HBCUs. Packed gymnasiums wherever we go. Black people don't like me? You sure? Positive. Walt Disney and HBCUs, when we start going on tours every year. We've been to Delaware State. We've been to Bethune-Cookman. We've been to Norfolk State. We've been to Winston-Salem State. We've been to Savannah State. Oh, yeah, we're going to Texas Southern next month because of what Beyonce did in terms of her contribution to the band. We don't stop. And I said we. Because in concert with the very organization that I work for that you accused me of being paid by just to talk about white, just to talk nastiest things about black people. What about what I celebrate? I cover the world of sports. Joy. If a black athlete is competing against a black athlete, and I'm talking about what a black athlete did positive and how a black athlete may have suffered negatively, I'm denigrating a black person, or am I covering sports? You're competing. Somebody wins, somebody loses. You mentioned Colin Kaepernick. I supported Colin Kaepernick from day one. I just said your strategy's not going to work. Because if you go the route that you're going, you will never be back in the NFL. You seen him play? Have you seen him in an NFL uniform? Was I not right? I looked at Don Lemon, I looked at Joy Reid and what you bring to the table. And it was valuable and it was important. And we needed you on the air. So why continuously go after Trump to the point where all of your eggs are in one basket? And in the event that he wins the election, somehow, some way it can get in the way of your progress. I wasn't selling out, I was looking out. Trying to point out where the potholes and the minefields will lie. Why? Because I've been there. I've been canceled. I've been fired. I've been taken off the air. And I was saying, this is the business. Why are we telling people something different? If you don't do X, Y, and Z, that does not mean you were not a great host. It does not mean that your content wasn't substantive. It does not mean it wasn't stuff that we needed to hear. What it meant was, in the end, it's going to be a marathon that you would lose because you went for the sprint. It's a personal opinion. But nothing denigrating or insulting to you all. But you would come at me. And try to create a narrative questioning my blackness. Do you really think I'm fazed by that? I ain't a black man, just a black man. I'm a brother. I'm with the brothers and sisters all the time. That's how I live my life. That's what's around me, contrary to what you want to believe. Everywhere I go, black people. Because I'm one of them. My brothers and sisters. And whether you like it or not, you don't get to eradicate and exile people. No, you don't get to do that. Contrary to what you want to believe. You.
All right, y'all. So that was pretty much halfway through his live that he did and his response to, some of the things that were said. I have so much more I could say about it, but I'm not going to talk about it tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. It's already, way over the 2-hour mark. So I'm gonna play a bop on the way out, y'all, and I will talk to y'all on the next live. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the evening, morning, or night, whatever respectful time is on your end. But yep, that was a little bit of what was going on with Don Lemon and Stephen A. Smith. But Don is not the only one he's gotten into it with. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. That's all I got for this one, y'all. I'll talk to y'all on the next one. I'm out. Bye.
The fake cry for the camera, or that clickbait, or that manufactured drama. This ain't no content slave. This is a fucking public exposure. We all see you. You fucking frauds. We see what you do in the DMs. Damn, this is for all of you. Keep posting on that tab, bet you wanna dress us. Now, love and laugh is fucking obnoxious. You stir the pot, so the whole damn scene is toxic. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let it ring out loud. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea, like the mighty waters. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. We remember it all. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Hope is alive, yeah. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on. Let's keep marching till victory is won. Stony the road we trod. Bitter the casting in rock. But we're still here. To the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queen. H 2.0. let's get it. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear.
Yo, welcome to the queendom. It's 2.0 on your screen with the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. So if you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must.
Ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators building up of the scene, spreading radical love, that's the message in the code, helping everybody carry up a heavy load, from social justice issues to the laughter that we need, planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought.
Oh, so come with your respect and see the real effect, cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me unleash the dragon. You've been warned.
Yeah. Don't make me unleash the dragon. You've been warned. Yeah. Don't make me unleash the dragon, you've been warned. Yeah. Golden Queen Age 2.0. The movement starts now. Go ahead. Hit subscribe, ring that notification bell. You don't want to miss a thing. Welcome to the family.